What's up, boys and girls in YouTube land? We're finally back in California, Stan. We went and got a house sight unseen in Texas, and I'll probably put a link to that video. I don't want to put it on the channel because it's not related directly to the bus, but it's going to have an impact on the bus. Like I said, we're back, and she's still sitting. I did come out and start it yesterday, fired right up. Oh, I swear, building a bus is all about reprioritization. So yes, we were going to put the wall up. Then I remembered, I got to put the lights in. But the problem with that is it's during winter. We had to put the bus in a safer spot because we don't want to repeat of last year when it sank. Guys, if you're confused, well, I'm right there with you. Trying to get back into this after being away for a while, and there's so many different things that need to be done because I'm really not that far along. It was just a complete train wreck trying to get into a spot of what can I start working on and filming and doing all of that. So you're not alone. Holy crap, guys. So I haven't filmed very much, and I haven't done very much because I couldn't film it. I lost my damn GoPro for 2 days. I have no goal today. I was gonna try and get the walls done and the ceiling panel, but I gotta get the wiring and stuff sorted. So I'm working on lighting and wiring for now, and then hopefully I'll get a point where I can start getting the wall. And I think I'm going to start the floor. Just trying to think of a reason. I think it'll be easier with the floor down, because then I won't have to try and cut the cabinetry and stuff. I'm just going to set this stuff right over that laminate flooring. I think is going to be the way to go. Like I say, I was kind of all over the map the day I had to move the bus over. Looks like it's going to try and rain again. So like I said, guys, when I lost my GoPro, I was just kind of dinking around on things. And this is all the stuff I looked at. The cornering lights, for whatever reason, whenever you turn on your turn indicator, the front cornering lights come on, and there's just no way to shut them off. Not very good going down the freeway in the nighttime, and all of a sudden that bright halogen headlight on the side of the bus comes on. It's great in a parking lot, but you pulling up alongside somebody at an intersection with your turn signal on, they're not going to like you very much. And everything else on the list is kind of self-explanatory, or I've touched on it. Well, I didn't touch on the brake lights, but yes, my brake lights are stuck on for some reason. But I have figured out why I have no air in my secondary systems, which is my airbags, the horn, the driver's seat, the door, pretty much everything but the brakes. This airbag right here is completely wasted. So when I disconnect, as you can see, I disconnected the leveling thing here to shut it off, basically. Once I shut that off, the front of the bus rose up nice, and the driver's side rose up. So I got to get these bags changed out to fix my air system, which I think I'm going to go ahead and do that dryer, because it looks like hell. There's oil all over the bottom. I don't think it's supposed to look like that. Like I say, I was buzzing all over. So this is going to be my electrical cabinet. This is the remnants of the heating side of the bus air. So we're going to gut all this. There's a 225 gallon fuel tank on the other side of that, which I know the internet's going to light me on fire. You're putting batteries next to the fuel. Well, there's already plenty of electrical components in here. Plus it's diesel. It's not going to spontaneously ignite. Now, there is some concern with lithium batteries. You know, they've been in the news. Yeah, if it goes up in smoke, it's as bad as an area as anything else, in my opinion. At least it's all metal in here. I'm going to put some of those exploding fire extinguisher things And it's going to have to suffice, because I don't want to put them in. This bay here is going to be all the water, the tanks, stuff like that. So I want that as my electrical bay. And that'll leave me the 3 bays for just general storage. You know, throw a quad in there, because they do fit. That surprised me. Like, I can haul 3 quads in this thing. So that's the plan down the road, but I have had to kind of temporarily wire this battery up so I can test my wiring up in the bathroom, so I don't get too far along and have it not work. But yes, this is going to be the electrical cabinet. All the the breakers and power inverters and everything's going to go in there. Plus it's ventilated. I've actually got 2 different kinds of lights right now. I bought these little 2.5 inch silver disc 12 volt LED lights, and they're okay. I wish they were a little brighter. It's not dark out, obviously, but and this camera's going to make it look brighter than it really is. They're okay, but you know, like the shower's kind of dark in there, and I don't want to put a light in it because that just seems like it could be a problem. I do have one more that I haven't wired. It's gonna have to do, I guess. So here's the lights that I'm talking about, and I kind of sounds like I'm not giving them a fair shake, because upon reviewing my purchase, which was made a year ago, October 25th, these are waterproof and they're dimmable. There's a lot of good features about them, so I'm taking another look, and I think I will put one in the shower since it is rated as waterproof. I do have these other kind. They're a little brighter. They're a daylight, and they're movable, so you can focus them. Like I could do something like that, so it shines in the shower. But you know, is it really necessary? I don't know, guys. This whole project is a figured out as you go, man. I'm just filming it in case, you know, somebody else has this crackpot idea of building a bus. And I will say I'm looking forward to it when it's done. Even just driving this down the road the other day, I was ready. I'm like, God, I wish this thing was done. But we got a long ways to go. But, you know, we're doing the things as we can. Yeah, go, little bastard. So, one other thing, this fan, cool. I like it. It was pretty inexpensive. I'll put a link to what the heck it is. It's got a really funky name. But problem is it has an electronic control board. This isn't as fancy as the front and back one that have rain sensing and everything else, because this fan's just going to be on when somebody's showering, basically. But I thought I was going to be all neat and wire it to a switch down here. I think it's this one, which turns it off. That's all well and good. But when you turn it back on, she no come back on, because you got to turn the power on up here. So this is how you turn it on. Oh, so one's power, the other's reverse. I was reversing it. But that's the problem. I guess it's okay, so when you shut it off, you're done, but that's kind of a pain in the ass, I'll say it. Very, not very user-friendly, so yeah, would not recommend. Moves air. It definitely moves air really nicely. But, yeah, with this electronic control, I think we're going to be changing this out someday. The reason I got it is it has light too. Now with those, yeah, there's plenty of light in here. I don't expect those to last very long. This thing is pure Chinesium. I suspect those LED lights are good for a couple of hours at best. But we'll see. I'm going to wire this up enough that if this thing decides not to work, there's still enough lighting in the bathroom. It does put out a decent amount of light though. All right, here we go, cutting some ceiling panels. see how this works. Guys, I'm going to say right now, this was just a bad idea for a number of reasons. It's really hard to maneuver a 4x8 flimsy piece of plywood inside a confined area like this with basically crap everywhere. I do not recommend. If I had a helper on this, this would have been a lot simpler. This is where I figured out I was in trouble. It was fine up to this point. The rollers did their job, but I had no way of finishing this cut by myself. I probably could have set up some more roller feeds and everything, but Jennifer finally got back from out of town, so she was able to hold the one end up while I pushed it through to finish the cut. Well guys, we've discovered a fatal flaw in my planning here, which there's going to be plenty more. So the furring strips run this way. These, of course, run this way. And because this is such a thin piece of wood, I'm finding it's bowing outside of the supports. I should have anticipated it, but I didn't. So what we're going to do, I had it, but I'm just going to, oh, they're up there already. I've got a couple pieces of plywood that were scrap, and we'll just screw these to hold the boards the same level in between the furring strips. For the rest of the bus, I've decided we're going to run the furring strips this way. Run one on each rail, one on each end, and probably one right down the middle. I wasn't planning on going this route initially. Sorry guys, lost the battery on that one. So the furring strips currently are going from side to side, which for thicker wood, that would be fine. But I decided I'm going to go with these wood panels, and because they're flimsy, the spacing is too far apart on the sideways. So I'm going to run these new furring strips lengthwise down the bus, and I'll put them where the seam's going to go. That should give the planks enough support that they're not going to have different levels like what I'm experiencing here in the bathroom. So that should do the trick. And here we see another problem with these puck lights. See that light fall out? These little 2.5-inch puck lights. The other ones have a really nice clamp, but these ones I bought like 30 of, they pop out pretty easy, and I think that might be another issue I'm going to have to figure out. Well, we're back, and we've had a catastrophic failure of design. The bathroom. Originally, the commode was going to go here, washer dryer here, vanity over where the commode is. Unfortunately, right where this vanity is sitting is a whole plethora of cross members that all converge right where the toilet was going to go, and I cannot cut through it. So we'll go and take a look, but the short answer is if you have a Prevost H3-45 and you're putting your bedroom in the back, followed by the bathroom, put the hallway on the driver's side. If I'd have done that, there's all kinds of room over in this part of the floor here for the commode. Let's go take a look. Side. This is the bathroom window. This is coming out. This is the old ventilation, which is fine. But if you can see, there's a cross member here. There's this one here. I've got a couple of pipes here, which I'm pretty sure I can get rid of because that goes to that, and that's coming out. So we can whack those. But let's see if you guys can see, there's a new diagonal cross beam right there. plus you got that one. Then we got an airline. And then way in the back, we've got the bulkhead for the baggage bay. So that's all right there, right here, which is where the commode was originally going to sit. And if I moved it to the right, now I'm too close to the vanity. Just a disaster. Now let's go show you the passenger side. Here's the passenger side, and as you can see, there's the bathroom, which the commode would have lined up right above the air dryer. And I've only got the one cross beam right there. I could go all the way over there. I could come all the way over here. Yep, if I just would have flipped it, this would have been fine. So anyhow, we're going to overcome it. The problem is with the new layout, which I forgot to discuss. Let's go talk about that for a second. So originally, this wall was going to come over, cant over, and come into here, and the washer dryer was going to go there. I want to keep this good window in its entirety. So this wall is just going to go straight across now. Kitchen sink's going to go here, which will be nice because then there's a window for it. And then we're hoping the washer and dryer can go here, and then the refrigerator can go alongside of it. Originally, the refrigerator was going to go here because this was going to be a push out, so we were going to put the fridge here. But now that has changed, so we'll see how that's going to shape up. The big thing is getting that commode to land. But now that I don't need those pipes, it'll be fine. It actually gives it more room, but room is a luxury in an RV, and I'm sure I'll be fighting space more later. So here's the plan. Like I said earlier, this is a little program called Van Space 3D. It's not terribly expensive, but now we've got this wall going straight across. Originally it came in, jetted out, and came over for the washer, but now it's just going to go straight. The sink and vanity is going to go right there, and then the toilet is over there in the corner. And then over on this side, we've got, the washer and dryer and the refrigerator, pretty much opposite of the stove. And then, of course, this Murphy bed is, we really want it, but, if something's got to go, it's going to be that. And then we'll just push the couch a little further back. But that's the new layout. All right. So we're setting up to get some flooring down. I've decided I'm going to put the floor down first. Rather than cut a hole, put the floor in, try and match the hole. It's just going to be easier just to put the floor in and then drill it all in one shot. This is how we're doing it. And I won't have weird things going on. If I have to take a cabinet out, there'll be flooring underneath it. So, obviously not obviously, but just like tile, the first one down is going to set the stage for everything. So we've got the old laser level pointer thing set up. And one thing I can tell you for absolute certainty, there's no leveling and squaring a bus. You can get it close, but it's not going to be spot on. I had leveled this bus putting in the shower, but the frame, which comes up here in the back, this metal piece here is part of the frame. The level is showing off on that, but the frame is level. Now it's not off by a lot, but basically what I'm getting at, you're just going to have to take the average of the two. And that's where we're at. I've got some blocks under the wheels. To get us close, I'm running this laser line right in the middle of the windshield. Figured that's, got to be pretty centered. And then I basically took a tape measure. I have 8 feet from side to side, from wall to wall is 8 feet. So the center line of this board is right at 4 feet. And that's where we're going to start everything, is this board is the center of the rest of the flooring for the entire bus. So I've got a weird angle here. But I'm too corn-fed. So part of this is going to be straight, and then it's got to angle over. So I just put my straight edge down to point me to where the angle starts. I know it's a 45 because this is a 90-degree shower, so this has to be a 45-degree angle. It can't be anything else. And a framing square has a nice 45-degree angle. So where the two meet is where I'm going to start my cut. This is all in theory, using you know, what I feel is logical. Doesn't always work, but we're going to give it a shot. So I know this seems kind of tedious, and I was almost going to edit it out, but this first plank, and then even if you start on the side, it's probably not as critical. But since I'm starting in the middle, I mean, everything just has to be spot on, because if I get crooked here, it's really going to be noticeable up at the front of the bus. So I really took my time. Even when I get frustrated, I have to take a little breaky poo and go cool off, because this board right here is critical. And for somebody that does floors all the time, you know, they could do this no problem. I've done, you know, a half a dozen or so flooring jobs, both for myself and helping others, and I still to this day don't know what part of the board I should be measuring, if it should include the little tongue and groove lip or if it shouldn't. I started to include it, and then I don't know what's the best way to do it, but the way I look at it, it's only about 1/8 of an inch, so if it's off, it's going to be off the whole way, so it should be consistent if nothing else. And right here is where I'm deciding if I should include the 1/8 inch lip or if I shouldn't, because I'm comparing the laser line to the, you know, the width of the board and everything else. Alright, so my next pieces have to be half sheets. So I've cut it directly in half, basically accounting for the width of the saw blade. This may come to bite me in the ass later, but we're going to give it a shot here. Well, I've been saying that a lot today. One thing I did want to point out is my 45 doesn't start at the very tip here. It starts at the finished edge, because the next piece is going to have this same part that has to overlap there. So if I'm correct, I need to account for that lip and put it at a 45 also. So let's find out how this turns out. Yep, might as well get our hammer. I'm pretty sure that's what I remember hearing was, you're gonna need a bump stick. And you're gonna play a serious game of whack-a-mole. But at least we'll find out early on if this is how it works. No, sir, I don't like that. And that didn't lock for... That answered that question. Can I use a bonk stick? Took a little finesse, and I had to take a couple more inches off of that because I want this to be the halfway point. I think when I measured my angle, I measured my cut from the end of the angle, but I should have measured it from the start of the angle. So anyhow, these boards throughout the rest of the bus should all line up at the halfway point. Yes, that looks mo better. Once I learn how we're going to install the butt pieces when I can't lift something up, like this one here, Yeah, that's going to be real interesting. Yeah, because this has got to go under here. It lays there, so you would think you would just tip it in, but you got to get under this one. I wonder if I'm... Yep, let's go do some research. Did our research. It's not looking good. I mean, it's fine. Like I say, I got this. It's called Style Selections. Waterproof vinyl planking. It's kind of thin, but you know, it's an RV. It's not going to be high traffic. It locks together amazing. It's real tight. You know, they claim it's waterproof. I don't know if it's waterproof, but you know, I could see how it's going to work good in this this shower, this whole bus. But this floor is designed to be started on one corner, in the corner, and you work your way across the entire room. I was starting in the middle because I want these boards to line up for the length of the bus. And I got this crappy light going. It's probably going to be rolling, flickering. Sorry, guys. Anyhow, I'm going to have to pull this up, which is fine. It comes apart super easy. I love it. It's good stuff. But I got to empty the bus out. So that's going to take a while because I got crap for days. It's been needing to going through. I've got, you know, just a mess going on. So it's time, but yeah, it's time. We got to get cracking on emptying this whole thing out so it's just a shell. Then I can get the floor down and then we can go from there. So anyhow, that's it for today. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Here we go. What is it, Tuesday? Got the floor kind of cleared up here a little bit. I can just move some stuff around, but have some room to work here because again, this stuff you have to lay in one whole pass and then work on the next row and just work your way across. So I've resorted to using math. I laid this out, centered it with the laser beam. You know, everything was golden, but I wanted to see how far to the wall, and it was 3 1/4. Well, that mathematically doesn't add up because it's 8 feet wide. So I shouldn't have a quarter of anything. So we're just going to cut 3 inches. Probably have to rework some of this, but I should be able to use those same pieces. So I did go and get a vinyl cutter because using that saw was messy, and this should be a little more precise, or at least less mess. And we'll see how it works out. The guy at Home Depot swore by it. So this is the cutter. You know, it's almost 200 bucks. I don't know if you really need to spend all that, but this cutter does work really well. The plastic shelf that's right there in front of it isn't the strongest, so don't lean on it and definitely don't step on it. It says it's 3 inches. Let's find out. Oh, hell. I haven't put any power out here yet. Hold on. So what I'm cutting here are the end pieces, the little 3-inch strips that are going to go one on each side. So cutting these in half, I can use one on each side of the bus. I will lose the thickness of the saw blade, but you know, that's a 1/16 of an inch on each side. That'll be covered. You're going to notice I'm constantly sitting here looking at this plank, trying to figure out which side is which side. And I wish I could say that got better as I went through the whole project, but it never ended. Every time I would have to cut something, I'd have to sit there and look at it and make sure I'm putting the the right side over on the correct location. It was just it was a lot of brain power. This was a lot more complex than it honestly felt it should be. It was, I don't want to say it was difficult, and when complex is the wrong word, but you had to just you couldn't just get an autopilot, because a couple times I did, and I would end up getting further down the project and then have to go back and undo it. I had to undo this floor several times throughout this, and we're not going to show it all, but a lot of times I would get 10, 15 planks down the way and then see something that necessitated pulling it all back up. Now, luckily, this stuff does come apart very easy, and it goes back together just like it did the first time you put it together, as long as you don't get too overzealous with the bonk stick. But yeah, there's, you'll get it down, and then you'll see a little gap, or something's not lining up right, or you realize you made your cut 3 inches off. I could go on and on with all the things I did wrong, but like I say, this isn't, it's not stupid complicated, but it does require a lot of measuring, a lot of kind of figuring out what your game plan is, and don't be surprised if you got to redo it. And when I say redo it, you're not going to have to tear everything apart and start over, but you may have to pull some stuff up and make a few corrections here and there, which I had to do. But all in all, it wasn't too terrible. All right, we're still on it. I had to take a break last night because I made a bunch of cuts and I started laying it all out, and again, I have to lay an entire row before I can lay the next row. I was hoping I could cheat it if I just, had a few down and could bend them, and no, this stuff is very, very finicky. So I have to fill these holes that I had for I didn't have a hole. This was for the air conditioning, the bus air that came with the bus. So I was originally going to use it, which is why I cut the holes, but we've abandoned that. So now I have to cover these holes. So luckily, since I just put subfloor on top of the existing floor, I'm just creating a little notch and gonna put some wood on top of that. The cabinets are gonna go here anyway, so it doesn't need to support a bunch of weight. Otherwise, I'd have to do all 4 sides and put some cross bracing, but nope, it's just to cover the hole. What I'm doing, because I'm only a one-man show, I got the first row laid down, got them, tight as I could together. Then, as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap as you get further down. I just started at this end. I just kind of finessed them together. They are very intolerant. I mean, the tolerance is very tight. So, you might get a few down and look back and see something popped open. But it can be done. It's just not easy. So anyhow, we're going to keep on trucking. It's Thursday. We're back at it. Rough night last night. I don't know why. Anyhow, like I say, where we left off, I was kind of showing how I'm doing these. This is a good, 30-foot run. And, trying to put these in according to the instructions. Like I say, the way the manufacturer wants it is, you do one entire row and then slide the next row in upright and let it tip down. Well, you're not doing that with a 30-foot strip. I guess even if you had 2 people, I think it would still be difficult. So we're kind of cheating it a little bit, like I showed you, where I'll get it close and then we'll just kind of massage it in. A couple areas I've had a little trouble getting it to lock in place, but so far it's going. It's just really slow. But I didn't really get into what this product is. I know Home Depot and Lowe's both sell it, called Style Selections. This is a slate oak gray, but it's really not. I like the color. And here's a general guide of how much you're going to need. Basically, a box does 20 to 30 square feet, but it's always going to take more. I mean, that's if you've just perfectly used everything in there. I usually go 10% over because you're going to have little cuts and pieces that go to waste. Anyhow, let's get back on it. I'll bring you guys back here in a minute. And boy, don't drop one of these because it's ruined. And I would imagine to say don't get one with a damaged box, because again, that little lip, it doesn't take hardly anything for that to get broken. Probably wouldn't hurt to have a set of knee pads. I've got some, I just don't feel like getting them. But I'll probably regret that decision. Try not to film all the bullshit, you know, to get it going for you guys, but yeah, I'm telling you, this stuff is finicky. In a totally unrelated matter to the floor, I should point out, I don't know, guys, if you remember, I was fighting with the upper windshield wiper switch. I've got a few, all my lamps are out, all my indicators for the switches, so those are easy enough. You can get some LED bulbs on eBay. But my point was that switch that I ordered, that was like fucking 60 bucks. When I was preparing to do the flooring, I took this cabinet out and unloaded it, and I found a box of parts. And lo and behold, there was a new wiper switch. So the moral of the story is know what the hell you have before you go ordering parts. This, you know, like I say, I can use the switch for something else. But yeah, it was just ironic that I ended up having that switch for as much grief as I was having. You have to keep a 1/4 inch minimum. On width-wise, it's a 1/4. Length-wise, I'm doing a 1/2 inch because this floor is going to expand a lot. I was originally going to glue it down, bought the glue and everything, and it's designed to be a floating floor. The last time I put a floor in similar to this, not like this, they didn't actually lock together, I started getting tiles popping up as things shifted and cooled, and got some big, you know, they weren't huge, they're 1/16 of an inch, but gaps started appearing, and I really don't want that with this one. You know, I was watching Rehabitate, which is another bus channel, and they ended up gluing their floor down. I'm hoping I don't have to pull all this up and glue it down, to be honest, but I'm thinking because these actually click together, it's going to hold them. I'm hoping, because damn, I don't want to have to pull this back up. It's Friday! Not that, you know, Fridays mean much to me. We're continuing on. Basically, we're not halfway because I still got the bedroom to do, but we're halfway through the front, which is about 3/4 of the bus. So you can do the math. We're just gonna keep on trucking. Well, guys, here's what happens when you get a little overzealous and ahead of yourself. And of course, it's when I'm on the last track. As you can see, I have a seam right here. I shouldn't be having a seam right there. And it's all the way down, because what happened... See what happened was... I have an 8-inch spacer. But I put it on the wrong track. This needs to go here. So, we'll be pulling all this up. That's like the third time. Well, we're trying some shenanigans. So I've got this door jamb here. And there's just no way to lift them and to get them to lock in. So what I've done is I put the piece under the door in. And then I took my little sheet there and slid it, locked it up on top here, and then just slid it. And we're about to do the same with the next one. It's tedious, but it's working. Alright guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. I was hoping to get at least the front 2/3 of the bus done, but we're just to there. I got to move that wood, and I got to finish some work up front before I can add the rest of the wood. But anyhow, It's I like it. It's turning out nice. Like I say, this stuff's pretty inexpensive. It's 6 mil, which I'm sure I'm gonna get lit on fire because oh, it's the thin stuff. This is an RV. I'm not living in this full time, and even if I was, I still think this shit would last longer than the rest of the bus would. So I'm okay with it. Cost is a factor. So anyhow, I was thinking it might have been easier to start on the passenger side with the, I'll put a picture of it. So here's one side of the locking mechanism on these planks, and you can see it's got a little C-shaped hole that you have to catch with the other plank, which is shown here. So these have to be tipped in. You can't just lay them flat and hammer them in. It's not gonna work. But at the end of the day, I think it would have been just as difficult. So I don't think it really matters on which which end of the tongue and groove you start. They're both going to have advantages and disadvantages. Pay no mind to what past me is telling you. It definitely will have an impact. You can start these with either the edge sticking out or the recessed piece as your starting point. I had much better luck with the little lock nick sticking out. Advantages. And it's pretty easy, as you saw. Once you get everything lined up, you know, it goes in fine. But when you start getting a little nuance like a door jamb or angle cuts, or they're not too bad, but you know, just one little, you're going to be going over it over and over, because as you get further down, a little gap will appear somewhere. So there was a lot of going back and correcting little gaps, but it looks like I got them all. I'm not seeing any. Everything's nice and tight, which that's what we want. So anyhow, I did want to have this finished, but by the same token, it's been a month and a half since I put a video out. A lot of people are asking how the progress is going, so I'm going to wrap this one up, and we'll just continue it into the next one.